She lived with us for a year. We even bought her car for her because her mom wouldn't let her have the car when she moved in with us. So we bought the car for her. But after she moved back in, the granddaughter comes down with a urinary tract infection. They go down to their grandparents on the other side, take her to the doctor down in Waxahachie, and the doctor says, oh, she got a urinary tract infection. And grandfather said, well, do you think the other grandfather could have done something? He goes, I don't know, but if you think something happened, I got to report it. He goes, well, yeah, I think something happened. So report it to CPS, right? 4 or 5 days later, my wife works at Children's Hospital. She finds out my granddaughter's upstairs. So she goes upstairs. She goes in the room, she gets cold shoulder from everybody in the room. She walks out and asks my son, what's going on? Oh, they're accusing Dad of molesting JC. My wife's like, what? There's no way your dad would ever harm his granddaughter. So she went to the nurse. The nurse said, no, it's just a urinary tract infection is all it is. So about a week later, I get called down to CPS. And you know Justice, right? Justice was the investigator for CPS. And we go in there and we have the conversation and everything, and we get ready to leave. And he says, man, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I don't think anything happened, like they're claiming, because I'm trained to tell if you're lying by your movements and what you say and all that. He goes, I don't think you're lying. I think you're telling the truth. And in fact, I was hurt. I was really hurt because I loved this girl. I'm talking about my granddaughter's mother. I loved her like she's my own kid because she lived with us for a year. We took care of her, helped her. So I was really hurt that she even went along with this. But she never talked to CPS. She refused to be involved in it. It was her grandparents, or her parents doing it, right? So Justice says, well, we're going to have to do a sexual assault nurse exam on your granddaughter. I'm like, on a 2-year-old? He goes, yeah, we have to make sure, just to verify nothing happened. I'm like, man, I disagree with it, but I didn't do anything, so go do what you got to do. Did sexual assault nurse exam on her, came back fine, nothing wrong with her, right? So it became unfounded. Well, they weren't happy. So as you know, they came up to y'all's department, and filed a complaint with y'all. After they left, and this is from an ex-employee, all the officers that were there, oh, he's a pedophile, we got him now, blah, 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 just going off. Saying,
not anything that I ever heard.
You might not have heard it, but it was going on.
There was way to my office.
Yeah, the ex-employee heard it. She told me about it. That was going on. Another ex-employee, an officer, told me there was stuff going on before he left and retired about me. So that got unfounded, right? So we weren't seeing my granddaughter for over a year. Hadn't been around her for a year. She comes down with another urinary tract infection. She ends up back in the hospital. Guess what? They found out that she was retaining her urine, which was messing her kidneys and bladder up. That's what was causing the urinary tract infection. Had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show you something. I can find it real quick here.
You took care of my kids when they come.
Yeah, I took care of his kid, Retta's kid when she was 5. I babysit her after school every day.
From bus,
Yeah.
from school, so many times.
That's my little granddaughter. I see her every week now. Spend time with her every week. It was just all a ruse by her other grandparents. They were trying to cause problems because we had a good relationship with my granddaughter's mother. And it did. It worked for a while until she realized what her parents were doing, and then she started allowing us to see our granddaughter again. And we see her 1 or 2 times a week, every week now. She lives here in Red Oak. But it just upsets me that I hear this stuff from other employees that were there, that they were talking like that. And another thing I want to bring up too for him real quick, the golf cart, as the officer says in here, was not a golf cart. It has a dump bed in the back of it. It had cattle feed in it. So the law does say you can use it as long as it has a slow-moving vehicle. It had a slow-moving vehicle triangle, but it wasn't at 6 feet. It was at the back of it. It is at 6 feet now, plus there's also an orange flag on there too now. But we didn't know it had to be 6 feet. Our mistake. But,
Nobody is really going to care
yeah.
under normal circumstances anyway.
Well, I mean, it was, we were concerned about the cattle,
I know.
you know? I mean, he called me, I was just helping, you know?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, I can be
It's
crazy
like if I
anyhow.
were on a four-wheeler on my street, going back and forth, I would get in trouble. But every now and then, I see a four-wheeler, holidays over there, I never call anybody to complain about it.
Yeah.
But
we're in the country more or less out there anyway, you
what I
know,
can
I
tell
don't care.
you is I took the complaint, the initial conversation that you and I had,
Yeah.
minus the formal complaint, I took that seriously.
Yeah,
I went back, I reviewed the video.
yeah,
I was not happy with it.
yeah,
He was administered discipline.
yeah,
He's having to go to additional training. The entire department has been admonished.
yeah,
They understand my stance. There is no question that they understand where I stand on this.
yeah.
I'm hoping that that will resolve any future issues.
I hope so too.
It,
I mean, actually, I'd like to do, you know, a ride along sometime, but I'm like, who am I gonna pick, you know?
so I need you to understand that I took it very seriously.
Yeah,
It wasn't something that I blew off.
yeah,
The day that you left, I was back there watching videos.
hmm,
And being transparent, we provided him the videos.
Yeah.
Hey, you probably need to know, this is gonna come up the pipe.
yeah,
Here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm trying to do to make sure it doesn't happen again.
yeah,
And I think he gets it. Now, and I'm not making excuses for the officer. He's going through a rough patch right now,
hmm,
personally. It's not an excuse.
yeah,
It's not a, well, because you're having a bad day, you get to treat somebody else bad.
Hmm.
I'm not making an excuse,
Yeah.
but he's going through a pretty rough patch right
Yeah.
now. He's a veteran, did time overseas,
yeah,
and he has some personal issues at home.
yeah.
I hope it didn't go.
Well, I think everybody does. I mean,
Well,
you know,
and
I got
again-
all
again,
kinds of
I'm not-
medical stuff going on right now.
Again, I'm not
you know?
making excuses.
Yeah,
And I didn't factor that into any of his
Yeah.
discipline. He
Yeah.
got what he had coming to him.
yeah,
But I need you to understand is that I didn't blow it off, I
Yeah.
took it seriously, and I'm trying to address it.
okay,
And I understand why you put your video out and all of that other stuff. And-
and I'm gonna say this, the lackluster, I didn't contact him or nothing. He
Well,
follows my page,
But what I'll tell
so,
you is when he pulled that off your page,
Yeah.
I feel compelled to tell this. I told him
Yeah.
I may or may not bring it up. But I feel compelled to tell you that my officers have received threats of violence against them because of that video
Oh.
that he did.
hmm,
And our dispatchers received death threats.
hmm,
That they were going to show up in the parking lot and kill the dispatchers who have absolutely nothing to do with
No.
this.
No.
well, that shouldn't be happening. But I
Well,
mean,
And it wasn't your
Yeah.
video. It
It
was,
was
Yeah.
the video they took
Yeah.
from you,
Yeah.
and they
That's what
chopped
they-
it up and
Yeah.
edited it even more.
yeah,
And I know that. And the
Yeah.
officers know that.
yeah, because I sent you my video
Yeah,
that's edited, yeah,
But the officers have received emails, threats of violence against them, and the dispatchers who don't even work in Red Oak, they work in
Midlothian, yeah,
They received threats that they were going to show up in the parking lot and kill them when they were walking out to their cars. So they had to have officer escorts from the inside of the building to their vehicles every day
no dang,
because of the video. Not your video, but the video they
He made.
stole from you and
Yeah.
he made from you.
yeah, because he follows my page, because I was like, how'd you get this video?
So
And I went and looked,
feel
and he's a
compelled-
subscriber,
I feel compelled. I think you need to know that.
yeah,
Again, it is what it is.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that wasn't my intent.
I,
My intent was to embarrass the department.
I understand.
You know, that's my video, and that's why when it popped up, I don't know who, the Mike guy put it on Red Oak Talk, but when it popped up, I went and put my video in there for people to see it,
I understand.
you know.
But
And
again-
that one's got 600, I think Lackluster's got 600,000 views. I've only got 2,000
Well,
on mine.
he is a reputable cop-hating organization.
Yeah.
So I get why you did what you did.
Yeah,
I don't have any ill will over that.
hmm,
But I felt you needed to know that the video that he took from you, stripped and re-edited,
hmm,
resulted in
yeah.
copious amounts of emails and threats
Yeah.
against officer
Well, that
safety
wasn't my intent.
and people who had nothing to do with
Yeah.
it being the dispatchers
Yeah.
being threatened with their life.
Yeah,
They called dispatch so many times that it locked up the entire phone system
Jeez.
for the dispatch center for 5 days straight.
right after it happened.
Well, after that video came out.
I wouldn't think people would
Oh, yeah.
spend time to do that.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I know.
and it's not local people either.
No,
It's,
Yeah.
it's people from up north.
yes,
yeah,
yeah, because I noticed there's like 2,900 comments on that video or something,
I don't know.
you know.
Well, there were many more emails that were sent out.
Jeez.
And
So what do you do in that situation? Do
I
you,
don't
can you,
respond to them.
I mean, no. Because they're making threats, can't you investigate that and charge them?
It's hard because all you're going to get is an IP address.
True. You'd have to go and have somebody knows what they're doing, I guess. Yeah.
All that cyber stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could pursue it cyber-wise, but we chalk it up to somebody, I mean, and you give it a week and it dies off, but, I mean, for the week immediately after that, yeah, dispatch was tied up every day off and on.
Hmm.
But I thought there was a law that even protects from bullying, cyber bullying. Imagine that,
It-
cyber threatening.
Well, like you said, it's going to be
Cyber
hard for them to
threatening
find out.
authorities? I mean, we should have some
Well,
commando going after these people.
I'll give you an example, and I called them about it because it never happened to me. But I ended up, I don't know, it's like 3 years ago. I started getting text messages of somebody saying they're going to kill me if I didn't send them, literally to my phone, going to kill me if I didn't send them money. And they were sending me pictures of dead bodies slashed up. I don't know where they got them or whatever. I don't know if you
You gotta be careful.
heard about that or not when I filed or I had an officer come talk to me about it. But yeah, I was getting like death threats for whoever this was, you know, and finally I just blocked the number. So, you know, in that situation, how are they going to find out? They literally have to go through they could be hiding that IP address through 100 times of deals.
If we were the NSA or the CIA, maybe,
Yeah,
but that,
It takes a,
your municipal police department's not
it
gonna be
takes a
able to solve that
geek
crime.
expert, a lot of money and time, but, I know.
So, beyond what I've done to try and address your concerns with the police department, what else can I do?
Well, let me say one other thing about these videos, and I spoke with both chief as well as one of the lieutenants about it,
with what?
about the video.
Yeah,
Not about
yeah,
your video.
yeah, chief and who else?
One of the lieutenants.
Okay, gotcha.
But, and this is just generally speaking, it doesn't have anything to do whether it's you or anybody else. I was not okay with the language that was used, even when they weren't talking with you.
Yeah, well, I
You
mean,
know,
when he
and
pulled
I know-
up, he was like, "What is this shit?" And then,
Well, I
You
know,
know.
but I mean, even beyond
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, if people are gonna cuss, they're gonna cuss.
yeah,
I understand that. But what we've tried to impress upon
Yeah.
those officers is, this is a perfect example, and actually
Yeah.
what you did actually gives the good example to these officers.
Help to, to.
Whatever you
shape-
do
shape
is
it.
on camera,
Hmm.
and it's gonna be out in the public.
yeah. Well, what got me is,
So regardless of what you think Chris Moses or Todd Fuller or Chief Wolf think, or anybody who might have been there, doesn't matter. What Susie and Joe in California or Ohio see, they have nothing, they know nothing else about it other than they are seeing somebody being rude, and then also not even in the same incident, sitting there cussing on camera like a sailor, which you know, people gonna cuss, just don't do it on camera.
what got me on that,
makes you- that even further makes you look like you have an attitude
Yeah.
when you're doing that.
well, one of the things that did get me on there was, I don't know if you remember the conversation or not. They were talking about some girl who was hyped up on drugs and hit a house and was either killed or on life support. And I'm like, what if their family saw that? You know what I'm saying? What if they saw them having that conversation? That
That's
would
the
not be
point.
good.
That's the
So,
point.
yeah,
You've got, when you are interacting with the people, you guys, anybody else,
yeah,
even when you're not interacting with anybody else, somebody comes and pulls those body cam footages or recordings or anything else, what is the world gonna see of you?
yeah,
You want them to see something that is professional and looks appropriate,
yeah,
regardless of who you're dealing with, regardless if you're dealing with anybody.
yeah,
You're portraying the department.
yeah, yeah.
So, you know, I understand why you did what you did, just like Chief.
Yeah. When I was hurt, I was mad, angry.
And I get it.
Yeah,
I
They
get
come
it.
out there with a chip on their shoulder
toward me,
and
big time.
hit somebody, and that ain't appropriate.
Yeah, the rumor mill needs to stop. If it ain't true information, don't talk about it. You know, because actually, honestly, if I tell you something, and you tell somebody else something, that other person tells, it's all changed by that point. You know, and that's not good.
Well, that, again, not
Yeah.
to beat a dead horse.
Yeah,
That was the conversation that was had.
Yeah.
They told us it's not gonna be tolerated. They understand the discipline that's gonna be associated
Yeah.
with it. This officer was formally reprimanded and disciplined, which I normally don't do in front of
Yeah.
other people. in front of the entire department.
Yeah.
And he sat there and nodded that he acknowledged, he understood his